Okay, so we're going to start lesson 4 with our Hebrew. All right, so we have two new words and we have some new letters. So, the routine first, before trying to figure out the words, we got to learn the letters. So, we're going to do that first. We have our first new letter is called Sadi. Sadi. And we're told that Sadi makes the sound of TS as in Betsy. So, one thing I remember I was taught by a teacher. He used to say that Sadi is nuts. So think about how the word nuts. That's um, and I was trying to think of a problem that a lot of people have. I don't know if it's a Southern problem or if it's an American problem with Sadi. A lot of people tend to pronounce Sadi like a Z. And that's a problem because, as you're going to find out later on, we have a letter called Zion, which is our Z sound. So Sadi is not Z. But a lot of people mispronounce it that way. I've been told that I say it like a Z when I'm trying to say and to me, in my mind, I'm saying it correctly, but sometimes it just doesn't come out. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's a Southern thing or if it's an American thing. And so, one thing that I have over here, this is a common word. I don't have it in Hebrew up here because there are some letters in the word in Hebrew that we haven't gotten to yet. But this is the Hebrew word that we often see in English, and it's a common first name right now with a lot of younger children, and we pronounce it as Zion or Zion, and Zion is something that it begins in Hebrew with the tzadi. And so I think that's part of the confusion is that sometimes when it's transliterated, words with tzadi, when they're transliterated in English, oftentimes they're transliterated, the tzadi is transliterated as a Z. And so I thought about, I've seen the word Zion or Zion as they translate it in English. In French and in Latin is translated, the tzadi is translated with an S. Transliterated with an S. And I think that S is probably a little better. And I've told people who struggle with making that sound to think of an S more than of a Z, just to differentiate the sounds. So the Hebrew Zion in English becomes Zion, but I think that the French and Latin pronunciation is probably the same thing. Of Sion has the sound a little bit more. So whether you think of Betsy or Zadi is nuts or Sion versus Zion, the T, I always pronounce it as a TS. It's a sound. It's just one of those things. It's practice and to get the sound correct. Um, Okay, let's look at our next letter. Our next letter is hey. Hey, and hey makes the H sound. Okay, so now that we have Sadi and hey, let's go up to our new keywords for this lesson and let's see if we can do them. Okay, we have our mem, we have batak, Sadi, kamatz, and hey. And the word is matzah, matzah, or matzah. So you're going to emphasize the second syllable. This is the break. The first syllable is ma. The second syllable is sa, because there's no nikud here. If there was a nikud here, then it would be three syllable, but it's a two-syllable word. So matzah, matzah. And here you see the matzah from Passover. And then our next word, I think this is the first time so far that we've had this. We have a three-syllable word. So first syllable, second syllable, and then third syllable will be our last two letters. Again, if there was a nikud under here, then it would be a four-syllable word. So we have a three-syllable word. And the way that I saw something that was really interesting, that a video that was trying to help people when you have these multiple syllable words in Hebrew, and the guy, it was Mark Gullop from JBS, who does a Hebrew, an Aleph Beit course. And like I said, I'm interested in all the different ways that people teach this that is helpful. And they said, they drew arrows and they said, think of when you come across a word and you're wondering how to say it, you go down and over, down and over. So you look at the consonant and whether or not it makes a sound. You look at the nikud underneath and then go over. And so we have a 3-syllable word. We're going to go down, over, down, over, down, and then we're done. So it's ha, ga, da, hagada, 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 hagada. And then you get a little quicker with saying it, hagada. Now, this is one of those that when I'm doing this with my mother, she'll sometimes say it the correct way and with the pronunciation that we're working on, and then say it the way a lot of American Jews will say it. So she'll say Haggadah, and then she'll say, oh, Haggadah. And so there are certain words that will come across that you might hear pronounced a little differently in American context, and we might use different pronunciation of syllables or vowels because that's a carryover from the Ashkenazic tradition. So we have the words matzah and Haggadah, but a lot of times people say matzah and Haggadah. And that's just the context you'll hear it in. Okay, let's go down. They give us a little bit of a reading clue. The sound of the letter Hey is just like the English letter H. When followed by a vowel, the Hey is pronounced like the H in happy. So you hear it, happy. At the end of the word, the H is silent. So if you go back up, let's look at our key word again. Haggadah, it's not Haggadah. We don't breathe in an H at the end. It's Haggadah. We really just this kind of it's pretty much it's silent, so we don't make the H sound. Same thing here, matzah. It's not matzah where we breathe in, but the H becomes the hey, becomes silent. Okay, so let's go down. It says the word Haggadah comes from the Hebrew word for telling the story. The Haggadah we read at the Passover Seder tells the story of how we left Egypt. Matzah is one of the special foods in this story. The Haggadah tells us that the Hebrew slaves made cakes of matzah, unleavened bread, to eat on their journey. Did you know that up until 150 years ago, matzah was always round? That is because matzah was always made by hand. In 1857, a machine for baking matzah, I just realized I was making the Z sound with the tzadi. Matzah was invented, but the machine could only make the matzah in a square shape. That's why most matzah we eat today is square. So see, I'm doing it. I find as I'm reading it, I'm just going with kind of the lazy, and I don't know if it's Southern or what it is, but making the Z instead of the T sound. Okay, let's go to the next page. So our keyword is Haggadah. All right, line 1. Ha, ga, da, he, ma. Line 2. And notice there's a hey at the end of all these, but there's no nikud, so the hey is going to be silent. We're just going to pronounce the first consonant and the nikud under it. Ma, ba, ga, sha, da. Same thing on 3. There's no nikud underneath the hays, so the hays are going to all be silent on the end. We'll just pronounce, so these are 2-syllable words. Hama, haba, haga, hasha, hada. Sorry if I'm going a little fast there. Okay, line 4, same idea. Ima, Iba, Iga, Isha, Ida. All right, line 5, Ita, Mida, Bita, Shida, Gisha. Line 6, let me kind of scroll down a little. Okay, Ga'a, Ata, sorry, that was my mistake. Let's start over. 6, Ga'a, Aha. Notice I pronounce the hey because it has the nikud underneath it, but I don't pronounce this one. So it's not aha, it's aha. Gada, daha, ba'a. All right, 7. Okay, got a 3-syllable word. So down and over, down and over. Hashabat, hadag, ha'ima, habat, hashamash. And I know you know the word Shabbat from earlier, dog. When the hay's in front of it, it's an article adjective, so it means the. So this is the Sabbath, the Shabbat, the fish, the daughter, the servant. Okay, cool Hebrew word. Woman or wife is Isha. Isha. Okay, let's go. So our keywords are matzah and Haggadah. We're going to have a little more with Zadi. Okay. So same thing. I'm going to have to watch myself here and make sure I don't do the Z sound. Okay. 1. Tzada, Tzama, Tzata, Atza, Tzama. Sorry if I went too fast there. Okay, 2. Itza, Mitza, Bitza, Ditza, Gitza. 3. Mad, Mead, Tzad, Mig, Tzad. 4. Tzamad, Tzamid, Batzad, Tzamik, Mitzat. I'm going to pronounce this one again. Mitzat. All right, 5. Magid, Ditzat, Magish, Bitzat, Matzit. Okay, let's see if I can scroll down a little bit more. Okay, 3 syllables now for 6 and 7. Down and over, down and over. Hagasha, Hatasha, Hatzata, Haggadah, Hatzaga. All right, 7. So 3 syllables as well. Hagashat, Hatashat, Hatzatat, Haggadat, Hatzagat. Okay. Keyword matzah. Practice writing the letter hey. Practice writing the letter tzadi. Then you practice writing the keyword matzah. And then they want you to circle the sound of tzadi in each of the following words. So, cats, that's bat mitzvah, sits, it's pizza. And that's true. You think about it. We don't say pizza like with a z, we say pizza. So it's a zadi sound, even though we transliterate it with the z. Tsetse fly, I don't know what that is. Itzy, then bitsy right there. Mitsubishi, mitsu. Okay, let's see if I can scroll down. Is that it? Bar mitzvah and Betsy, you should be able to do that. All right, lesson 4. At the Passover Seder, our keyword again is Haggadah. At the Passover Seder, we spill a drop of wine to remember each of the 10 plagues. Draw a line from each plague to a drop that matches. See the example. So for blood, the river of blood, they have G, so Gimel. For frog, they have H, so you would find the hey. Silent, which letter do we know that's silent? Then for the wild beast, sorry, I went too far. So D, that would be Dalit. E, that's a vowel, so it's going to be a silent letter with a vowel. It would be the Hirik. And you can do the rest of those. Okay, it says the Haggadah tells the story of Passover. Write the word Haggadah under each picture that has to do with Passover. Okay, so this is one of those times where it's assuming you have some Jewish knowledge, and if you don't, that's okay. The dreidel, that has to do with Hanukkah, so that has nothing to do with Passover. The Seder plate that we use for Passover, so we know this has to do with Passover, and the 4 cups of wine. But that's one of those where if you're not familiar, you might have to pick up a little Jewish knowledge here and there. And that's basic. That's not, I mean, you can be a Christian, you could be from a non Jewish background and be another religion, you could be an atheist, but that's some basic Jewish knowledge. You should know, to know with Hebrew, you should know what a dreidel is. You should know what Passover is, know the holidays. That's basic thing. If you're interested in Hebrew for completely non-religious reasons, like you want to read modern Hebrew literature, or you want to read, if you're into Yiddish, you want to read Yiddish literature, Jewish culture is a thick part of it, and so it's just knowing those things. If I were teaching like a Southern raised kid from a rural background who is Jewish, then I might take some time to fill in some Judaica. And if you're going to use this to teach your kids, then maybe do the same thing. Maybe have some of that Judaica there and explain to them what those things are associated with, because maybe they don't know. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is for people who are maybe outside the loop of being part of an established Jewish world where there would be people knowledgeable of Hebrew and of Judaism. Okay, back to the page. Okay, our last page, I believe, for lesson 4. So they explain to you, like we talked about, that if you have hey and a patak underneath it, ha, that means the. So anytime you put that in front of something, it's going to be the whatever. Like we had ha-shabbat, the Sabbath, hadag, the fish. In Hebrew, ha means the. You attach it to the front of a word. And so I just didn't mean to do that, but I did it. So we have Shabbat. The Shabbat is Ha-Shabbat. Hadog, what's dog? The blank, the fish. Hamatzah, what matzah? The matzah. Okay. So let's see. What else do we have? Okay, there's a note. Not every hey with a patak at the start of the word means the. What word do you know that starts this way? So they're looking at Haggadah, Haggadah. So just because you have a hey and a batak, it doesn't mean that it's an article adjective. Sometimes it's the beginning of a word. Okay, you complete the puzzle. The Sabbath, the Shabbat, HaShabbat, fish, be dog, a book that you read at the Passover Seder, Haggadah, the bread you eat on Passover, matzah. Okay, and I believe that's it for lesson 4. Okay. All right, so what you want to do is you want to review those words and those letters, and then we're going to have lesson 5. And then once we do lesson 5, at the end of the activity book, there's a whole section where you can practice just reading straight up vocabulary, not sounds that don't mean anything, but actual Hebrew words. And so we'll look at doing that after we complete lesson 5. But that's it for now.